Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you all for joining us here this morning for a SciTech Data Exchange machine monitoring webinar. We host these on a monthly basis about some sort of machine monitoring related topic. This month's is machines that you didn't know that you could monitor. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go over the order of events for this morning's webinar, and typically these run anywhere from 25 minutes to about an hour. This morning's is going to be a little bit on the shorter side. And first, what we're going to be discussing is what you can monitor with SciTech Data Exchange in terms of shop floor equipment. We are also going to be discussing the methods of connection for data collection with SciTech Data Exchange. We're going to be going over some use cases for some of the things that I talk about this morning. And then finally, we are going to be showing a demonstration of how you can collect from certain different kind of not so common machine types. So first off, I'd like to discuss what kind of shop floor equipment can be monitored with SciTech Data Exchange. So the equipment that you can monitor with SciTech Data Exchange includes CNCs, fabrication equipment, cobots, machine sensors, but basically everything that is out on your shop floor. Now, the most common are modern CNC machines that include lathes, grinders, mills, routers, water jets, EDM, etc. And modern CNC equipment that can be easily monitored with Data Exchange usually has an Ethernet port on the control. I'm going to be going over the fabrication equipment types as well as cobot sensors that are some of the more not so common machines that can be monitored with SciTech Data Exchange. Now, if you go to our website, scitech.com/supported technology, you can find a long list of the different machines that are supported by SciTech Data Exchange, as well as the data points that can be pulled from these machines as well, that I'm going to be kind of going over as well. Now, a lot of times what I bring up in Data Exchange, if I just kind of gloss over something, we have a more in-depth webinar about that you can access via our YouTube channel, as well as on our scitech.com website, where if you go up to where it says webinars at the bottom of the page, there is a little link that you can scroll down to that'll take you to all of the previous webinars that we have hosted. So first off, next up, I'd like to go over the Data Exchange methods for data collection. And there's three main ones that we have, including hardware, which is kind of what accommodates the not so common machines and sensors that I went over earlier, as well as protocols. As I mentioned, modern Ethernet or modern CNC machines have the ability for Ethernet data collection. And then finally, we have our operator input as well for data collection. So the first method of data collection that I'm going to be discussing is hardware related, and that is our status relay controller that we call the SRC. Now, I also have a previous webinar about this as well that really goes in more detail about some of the features and provisions with the status relay controller. But the status relay controller is a low-cost hardware device that comes pre-programmed, ready to work with SciTech Data Exchange for monitoring your legacy shop floor equipment. Legacy shop floor equipment is CNC machines that do not have Ethernet ports on them. And the status relay controller is a PLC device. As I mentioned earlier, no programming is required on your end. The status relay controller ships from SciTech headquarters, ready to work with your equipment. And the status relay controller is good for monitoring legacy machines, fabrication equipment, as well as sensors. And I'm going to have a demonstration of this later at the end of this webinar. But the SRC can be connected to a wired or wireless Ethernet network and is capable of monitoring digital and analog signals with built-in functionality around shop floor equipment. And the SRC is available in two configurations: the SRC Standard and the SRC Extended. The standard model that you see over there on the left has 4 digital inputs that can be configured in a variety of ways, all without any programming, providing a flexible, scalable solution. Now, the extended model that you see over there on the right has all the functionality of the standard SRC with the addition of 4 analog inputs and 8 digital inputs, those 2 extra units that you see there on the side. So if you have any machine sensors that you are looking to monitor, you can kind of take those sensors and wire them into those ports that you see kind of running along the right-hand side of each of the SRC units that you're looking at. So a digital input, for example, would be something kind of like a common industry component, such as a stack light or a relay. Those are some kind of common digital inputs. And some common analog inputs would be something like a current or an amp clamp that you can see down there in the bottom right-hand corner that you could connect a spindle wire to and receive information from if your machine is running or not running, as well as other production metrics. So some sensor types that can be monitored via data exchange include humidity, current, vibration, proximity, fill level, data listeners, as well as pressure sensors. And sensors like proximity and current switches are good for determining cycle status and part counts. And this opens up your machine monitoring possibilities to even things like data listeners, barcode scanners, ovens, palletizers, and more. So with the ability to monitor sensors, it really just kind of opens up the machine monitoring possibilities to a lot of different equipment that could be out on your shop floor. Next up, I'd like to discuss kind of the array of different fabrication equipment that can be monitored, which includes press brakes, saws, punches, laser cutters, burn tables, stamping machines, shears, manual welders, and more. And you can see a kind of like an example of a fabrication piece of equipment over there on the right. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we also have legacy machines without Ethernet capabilities, as well as manual machines that can all be monitored with that status relay controller PLC device that I just showed you. Now, all the rules for data collection for your machines are configured inside of Data Exchange with the use of your status relay controller. There are also default collection rules that come standard with Data Exchange to get up and get monitoring very quickly. They come pre-canned with the Data Exchange machine monitoring platform. And all the data that is collected from this process is presented the exact same way as the data that is collected over Ethernet, meaning that your dashboards and charts are still showing the same data as if you were collecting, from a more modern CNC over Ethernet. And you can still also do the same stuff in terms of triggering notifications via email, text, or Microsoft Teams with information that is collected via that status relay controller from those not so common machine types, including the sensors, the fabrication equipment, the older manual machines. Next up, in terms of data collection, I'd like to discuss the protocol access that Data Exchange has the ability to collect from. Now, Cytec Data Exchange, and this is something that kind of separates us from some of our competitors, has the ability to directly access protocols from name brand machine controllers such as Fanuc, Siemens, Akuma, Heidenhain, Mazak, and Haas. And this direct protocol access will give manufacturers like yourselves the richest set of collected data available. And as I said, this is something that separates us from our competitors. And this collected data directly from protocol access goes way beyond if your machine is running or not running. So if you want to see a long list of all of the data points that can be pulled from logos that you're seeing here, if you go to cytec.com/supported technology, if you scroll down at the bottom of the page, you can see a bunch of the logos where you can click on them and you'll be greeted with a PDF that goes over all of the different data points that can be retrieved from these specific machine brand controllers. And another thing that this direct protocol access helps out with is the Data Exchange and Vericut integration that is called CNC Machine Connect. And only the direct protocol access can provide the level of data needed for this integration We have a separate webinar on that as well with CG Tech Specialists. If you want to go check that out, it's on YouTube. The CNC Machine Connect integration promises the most accurate digital twins in the manufacturing realm today. And then finally, we also have something that's new to the Data Exchange Machine Monitoring Platform, which is the DXIQ, which is our high-speed analytics for data collection. You're going to be finding out more about that down the line. But as I said, if you're looking to find all the different data points that you can get with this direct protocol access, please go to scitech.com, where you will find a tab for supported technology, where you can find out a whole long list of all of the different data points that can be collected with Scitech Data Exchange. So some of the controllers that are supported with this direct protocol access include the FANUC 0, 30, and 31i series, the Makino Professional 5 and 6 series, DMG, Mori, Celos, Akuma OSP 300 and 500, the Siemens 840D and Cinemeric 1, the Heidenhain ITNC 647 and 530 series. And we are going to have more supported controller types in the pipeline for our development down the line. But these are what I mentioned earlier that can, if you have one of these controllers on a machine, the Ethernet that comes with them is the easiest way for Data Exchange to connect to machines and pull a very rich set of data off of them. We also have open source protocols that Data Exchange can pull information off of, including OPC-UA, which is a cross-platform open source standard for data transmission from sensors to cloud applications. We also have the ability to pull information off of your shop floor equipment via MT Connect. And MT Connect is a protocol designed for the exchange of data between shop floor equipment and software applications used for monitoring and collecting data. And you might have seen MT Connect a little bit more than OPC-UA, as they are a lot more common thanks to AMT. It is a protocol that is being pushed by the Association of Manufacturing Technology. And MT Connect is not only a protocol, but it is a communication standard built around internet communication technologies. So via one of these different protocols that I just discussed, as well as the machine controller types that I just discussed via the Data Exchange direct protocol access, this is the main ways that we are able to pull information off of something that is more than likely out on your shop floor. Finally, we have Modbus TCP. And Modbus TCP is a widely used industrial communication protocol that is very old, that allows devices to exchange data over Ethernet network using TCP IP protocol suite. And why we utilize this protocol is to pull information off of cobots. Finally, we have operator input as the ability to collect information off of your machines, and we do that with our ODI tablet. The ODI stands for the Operator Data Interface, which allows shop floor personnel to enter information relating to planned and unplanned downtime reasons, work orders, and operations, part counts, and much more. Not only does the ODI allow shop floor personnel to enter data about daily operations, the ODI also provides real-time feedback from equipment. And the ODI is only offered on the Data Exchange license levels, including silver, gold, and platinum. The ODI screen fully integrates with the automatic machine data collection, allowing for data collection rules to be used in real time across all sources of data. And using the ODI screen, data such as downtimes, part numbers can be entered, OEE dashboards can be updated, and email, text messages can be sent along with a variety of other functions. So a good use case for the ODI would be for operators who are working with multiple machines inside of a cell. If you see that image over there on the right, we have what would be kind of indicative of an operator working with 4 machines inside of a cell, including a grinder and a Haas machine. And you can see some data points that can be populated inside of what we have there is called the equipment overlay. It's kind of like a dashboard for operators working inside of a cell, where you can see things like the logged in user, the work order that they are currently working on, as well as the part numbers, their parts per hour plan, and the amount of good and scrap part counts that they have produced, as well as the status duration for whatever the machine is currently in. That grinder is currently in an unknown downtime, and the Haas machine has been cutting for about 45 minutes. So some use cases for some of the things that I've discussed is what we're going to be discussing here next. So with Data Exchange, you can monitor just about everything that is out on your shop floor, including older CNC machines with or without Ethernet capabilities, manual processes, tapping into stack lights, monitoring cobots, monitoring fabrication equipment, and then also monitoring machine sensors. And a really good machine sensor use case monitoring example that I have came up with is for those of you that are aerospace manufacturers. You could have a thermocouple embedded onto a table that can collect temperature or humidity in an environment. We do have clients that use Data Exchange to monitor the humidity in their environment, and once it crosses a certain threshold, they know to go out there and stop production. So one of the other things that you can do inside of Data Exchange with this collected information that comes from both common, CNC, modern CNCs, as well as the not so common things that I went over, including sensors, fabrication machines, as well as cobots, is the ability to create your own dashboard that we're looking at here. And this is coming from a client of ours that uses this dashboard as kind of a demonstration that they have out on their show floor for the machines that they're using. And we can see a bunch of different metrics that are pulled here, including stuff from a CNC, as well as environmental metrics that can be pulled, such as temperature and humidity. But we also have the ability to monitor cobots, and they're using a cobot out on their showroom floor to kind of use as a soft drink dispenser as well. So with the information that you were collecting off of Data Exchange, you can also kind of customize your own dashboards to show information that is meaningful to your production process. As I said, this is one that we have pulled from a client of ours that are using Data Exchange as a kind of like a tool in their showroom floor to show that the different monitoring possibilities that you can achieve with SciTech Data Exchange. Now, as I said earlier, the way that we use to collect information off of a host of machine types that are not so common are via our status relay controller, the PLC device. For those of you that have ever stopped by the Data Exchange booth at, we'll say IMTS or East Tech or something like that, you've probably seen this demonstration before, but I'm going to show you this demonstration as well. And I took a screenshot here of a demonstration board that we have. And in the upper left-hand corner, we have our status relay controller device, as well as the different sensor types that are wired into it, including a current sensor, a relay, a machine stack light that you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner, as well as a temperature sensor. So I'm going to go through a couple of these about how we show this information out on the trade show floor to show you how the status relay controller can collect information off of these different sensor types. So I have a little video here that I'm going to play for you guys. And this is sensor types and the Data Exchange status relay controller. So the first up we're going to be going over is amp clamps and spindle wires. Data Exchange has the ability to monitor and collect data from currents off of an amp clamp. For this demonstration, we'll be using a drill wired into an amp clamp, and is going to be acting like a machine spindle, showing you a machine cutting or in cycle. So I'm going to be depressing the drill button here, and it's going to spin the drill, as I said, as if the machine was cutting. That sensor is wired into the SRC, and as I press that drill button, you will then see in the real-time equipment view that it'll pick up that drill amp there, showing the machine is in cycle. So when this drill is let go, the machine will go back into an unknown downtime inside of Data Exchange and stop recording the cycle. Next up, I'm going to be going over stack lights on legacy equipment. So this is me pressing the cycle start button, and the green light illuminates on the stack light. Data Exchange will pick that up, going from an unknown downtime to then being in cycle. Next up, I'm going to be pressing the pause on the stack light. Data Exchange will then see that as an M0 waiting for an operator. And you can also have that as an M1 as well for a pause. Finally, I will be hitting the alarm button on the stack light, showing that red light illuminating up there. And then Data Exchange will pick that up as an alarm. Finally, I'm going to be showing you a thermocouple demonstration and how the SRC can pick up that. So with this, we are increasing the heat in an environment, and the temperature sensor that you see there can pick that up, that change in temperature inside of Data Exchange. So you can see there with the temperature, it increased. So these are some of the sensor types that you can monitor inside of Data Exchange. As I said, we are not limited to any of these types that I showed you here before. Please reach out to us at sales@sitech.com. I'm going to show you that email again here at the end of this webinar coming up in just a minute. If you have any questions about what kind of sensor types that we can monitor with Sitech Data Exchange. So that about wraps it up for this webinar. I'm going to be discussing the upcoming webinars that we have, as I said, on a month-to-month basis that are topical. At the end of August, we always have these at the last Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, as we are in Colorado. At the end of August, we are going to be having a webinar about the high cost of common manufacturing issues and how Data Exchange helps. So that could be things like changeovers, long machine setup times, lack of historical and real-time data, just some of the issues that you guys may be having out on your shop floor, and how Data Exchange solves those kind of issues. And then finally, at the end of September, we are going to be having something that's kind of similar to what we were discussing here today, is for the attendees of FabTech that we meet at the trade show out there. How Data Exchange can monitor fabrication equipment as well. So that's going to be at the end of September for the people that have a mixture of CNC or fabrication equipment that we meet out at FabTech. Finally, for those of you that are current Data Exchange users, I do like talking about this for every single webinar that we do. We have our Sitech University website, which can be found at dxhelp.sitech.com. For any of the questions that you might have about Data Exchange, you can go to this website and type something in that search bar, and it'll populate with FAQs, videos, tutorials, etc., about all things related to Data Exchange. And we also have how Data Exchange can be broken down into different roles for your production facility, including like operators or shop floor supervisors and things of that nature. So if you have any questions about any of the sensors or machines that you are looking to have monitored, please email us at sales@sitech.com for any questions that you guys have. We are always, able to help out. And as I said, one way or another, we can connect to just about everything that you guys have out on your shop floor. So that about wraps it up here for this morning's webinar. Thank you all for joining us. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all again next month. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.